Welcome back. Life on the road with the Kansas City Mavericks includes 17-hour bus trips, 4 in the morning wake-up calls, hauling nearly 40 bags and cases of equipment on the buses and through airports, and finding restaurants on the go. And for one guy, not losing his voice. Joining us now is play-by-play announcer Bob Brennison, who can now add author to his title, so that's very exciting for you.
Yes, thanks for having me on, Belinda. Great seeing you again. It was always so much fun visiting with you when you were the in-game host at Mavericks games.
Oh my gosh, Bob and I used to have so much fun, and he actually, I think, handheld skated around with me at one ice rink, keeping me from falling, which is always huge. But you know, we really have to touch base on this important book. What inspired you to write A View from the Gondola, My Journey Through the Kansas City Mavericks season 2017 through 2018? How did you get started?
For years, people have said to me, write a book about all of your experiences. I called a friend, Bob Wilbur, who was the first general manager of a professional team to hire me back in the 94-95 season with the Kansas City Attack indoor soccer team. He had just completed his book called Bats, Balls, and Burnouts, and he said, why don't you write a journal on a season? Well, I got the blessings from the Mavericks management, Brent and the people there, and Lamar Hunt Jr., the owner of the team, wrote a foreword to the book, and so away we went, and I started writing about all of the experiences that took place during the 2017-18 season. For years, before I started traveling with teams, I always wondered what it was like. Well, I found out when I started traveling with teams that it's much better than I expected. Sure, as you mentioned, there's the 4 a.m. wake-up calls.
Ooh.
Fortunately, our bus didn't break down last season, but we've had it happen in the past and many, many things that have taken place. But the number one thing that I have found is the people that I've met throughout my time broadcasting hockey. You being one, many fans, management people, other broadcasters throughout the league. The list is just too numerous to count.
Okay, and we're actually watching you get so hyped up right now because it was just a Mavericks goal, and that is so just an exciting time, I know, both for you in the booth and for all of the fans. You know, when they're going through one of these kind of thick books here, you know, what do you want the readers to take away?
I want them to take away the fact that even though, unless the team's penalized, there are 6 players on the ice, and there's a coach, a trainer, and an equipment manager on the bench, but it takes hundreds of people to make a hockey game happen. And the most important people, I feel, are the fans. At the end of every broadcast, I say if it weren't for the fans, there would be no Kansas City Mavericks. So I appreciate all of them, and every player, every staff member, all the people that I've met throughout hockey. Well, they have their own stories, and I've picked out some of these stories to talk about these individuals. For instance, Tim Slice Atchison, one of the bus drivers, elaborated on his story, and he told about his sister working in the airport in Edmonton, and she was berated by someone, and some people just landed from Texas. They said, move to Texas. She quit her job right there, moved to Houston. And then there's Rocco Carzo, the Mavericks captain now. Well, Rocco tells me more people love his father, RC3, than him. Rocco Carzo III. He is a rock star whenever he comes to town. So I tell the story about RC3. He can be seen about every other weekend at the Silverstein Ice Center's Arena in Independence, even though he lives in Media, Pennsylvania. Great, great guy. And there are just numerous people that I write about in this book, and the number that I have written about, it's just a fraction of those people that exist.
Well, Bob, all of those fans, of course, amazing. And I just have to say, like, working with you when I was with the Mavericks was such a blessing. And of course, you really always gave it back to the fans, and that's the most important part. So thank you for coming on the show. We're going to throw it to you, Bill.